Ninjas in Pajamas on Villa.
So, starting to get off, we have the ban FaZe as per usual. And it's going to be FaZe on defense, which means they get to ban first. They'll take care of that Montaigne. Makes a whole lot of sense. It's a difficult operator to deal with. A lot of teams would rather just not bother. And getting rid of him is going to be a comfort ban, that's for sure. Let's see where NiP decide to go with their attacker ban. Looks like it's going to be a Glass. Also one of those, bans that you're going to do as a comfort ban. It's curious that NiP's the one to ban out the Glass. They actually have one of the best Glasses in Latin America, Psycho, but yeah, I suppose, again, a comfort ban. FaZe also have good Glass players as well. Miragon, and that's just pretty par for the course here, especially on a map like Villa, and Maestro, much the same. It's curious, though, the Mira ban, I think, is the most, as weird as it is, the most upset of a ban that we're having for this match, and that Mira is useful on Villa, but not essential. And often teams will not run her, especially in the European region, because she just can be a detriment to your team if the mirror windows are broken. And sometimes it's really easy to do that, especially with all the soft destruction you could do vertically on this map.
I find it really odd that FaZe banned Montaigne and Ninjas in Pajamas banned Glass.
Yeah,
you would think it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. You know, you've got Psycho, who can play so well on Glass, so much so that when Ninjas in Pajamas were given a skin in the game, they put it on Glass.
Yeah, it is a counterintuitive.
Crying out loud. I find it remarkable.
It is really counterintuitive. I mean, honestly, that's not the only thing about this match that's really interesting. The way that these bans played out, I mean, both of these teams are banning some of their better maps, and honestly, it seems when you look at the past record for the maps in this match that Ninjas and Pyjamas came out on top. But it's really hard to tell because a lot of the maps that we're playing here today are ones that FaZe haven't gone to a whole heck of a lot throughout the regular season. So it's honestly gonna be a really interesting match, not just in this first map on Villa, but also moving forward. This is the second time, if you count the regular season and the qualifiers, that FaZe has played Villa. This is excluding BR6. And this is the, looks like, second time as well that Ninjas and Pyjamas in the regular season and qualifiers that have played Villa. So, second time for both teams, and both teams also have a 1-0-0 record, so winning their matches on this map. We'll see what comes of this, though.
Here's a major change for FaZe right off the hop. Their bans in almost every map tend to be Hibana and Echo. Every single time. Very similar to Norarengo, actually. Norarengo almost always seems to ban Hibana and Echo, if I recall correctly. And FaZe have employed an Echo right away. So that is something that is newer to the team, given their track record of bans. And if you're going to save, you know, we made a lot of jokes over the course of the season saying that teams were saving strategies and that they were trying to keep things hidden and prepared for as big an event as this. This is the time where you decide to pull things out that you've been practicing and working on. And especially with the way you look at these map bans, I got to imagine that FaZe has brought an awful lot of new stuff here that they might be testing for the first time. There's a risk involved in that. But if you can catch your opponent off guard, that's going to give you a massive advantage. And I think this Echo play is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's not just the operators, it's the maps as well. Overall, very fresh in terms of how it hasn't been done very much by either of these teams. Going to be some impact tricks to take out the exothermic charge, and Julio is definitely not happy about that one. Good job to, it looked like either Mav or Moringa to make that happen.
I couldn't tell as well from sound if a C4 had gone off or not. That would probably be in cameraman's hands, as he's the only person capable of carrying a C4.
Looks like you're right.
And he's used his nitro cell. And it was a little early. There wasn't anybody really scuffed on Ninjas and Pajamas side of things. Kamikaze getting the lead-off kill here between these two teams. Astro peeking a little too aggressively onto the window. And one change that you might see with the spectator system is that the kill feed will be in the lower right corner. Oh, and ill-advised run out there from the mute across the door towards the hallway, gets gunned down by Pino. And NiP finds themselves firmly in the driver's seat with a minute to work with, Michael.
Well, That was a pretty much free pick there for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and now with so much power, the only thing they really have to get over are those Legion Mines and the Yokai drones. But as Pino gets yet another one on Moringa, it's looking dire for FaZe in this first round. Yuna gets his team's first kill, and might have somewhat brought this back, but he's got to contest 2 more people pushing in from the study door, and finally he will be taken out by Kamikaze, leaving just Mav in the 1 versus 4. Diffuser being planted though, as you can see, and Mav going for a peek in the hallway to try and equalize. Julio will shut him down, and Ninjas in Pyjamas take the very first round.
You saw that diffuser also, the UI of the diffuser also being added, and pretty new. You'll see it, and it takes away a lot of the guesswork as to whether or not you're actually going to be able to get the diffuser down in time. So an excellent addition that comes right before the Invitational. That was extremely well played from Ninjas in Pyjamas, and especially the way that they were able to course correct after losing out on their hard destruction. It was a clever rotate. You kept one body still playing inside a study while the rest of the team rotated around. You took control of 90. You pressured in from over the 90 side of things towards that classical hallway, and you just took every fight that FaZe gave you. And that was the big thing, Michael. FaZe gave them so many opportunities to punish them.
They were sloppy. You gotta be honest here and say that FaZe played that round extremely sloppy. It was not a good one. Cameraman playing aggressively on the north hallway just outside of AVG. I understand the position, and it's definitely a powerful one, but he got pinched, and he was forced to rotate into a uncomfortable spot. Easy pick for Pino. He follows that up with an entry into the site, and there's very little control on the B site after FaZe lost control of the north main hallway. So, yeah, tricky round there for FaZe. They're going to need to reassess how they choose to defend this. They did get one thing in their favor, though. The impact tricking worked very well, and it doesn't always. So FaZe managing to make that happen is definitely fantastic, but they're going to need to do that and more here as they attempt AVG a second time if they want the win.
And a wise choice from Ninjas in Pyjamas to run with the Hibana. There's a big reason why teams don't use an awful lot of thermite on this map, and as you noted, it's because of the impact tricking.
Yeah.
So you run a Hibana, you're able to use her gadget on the bottom panel. Usually one of the defenders will waste an impact grenade. It's not going to take out any of her ex-Kairos, so the hard destruction will go off just fine, and it will allow the attackers to have control over that wall, and because of that, you can't impact trick a second time because you'll be vulnerable and exposed through the 6 ex-Kairos that go off at the bottom of the wall, allowing the attackers to be able to see into where you're playing as a defender. So ultimately, a good call from Ninjas in Pyjamas, and even though they did win it, they still think that they could maybe do it a little bit easier.
You see that FaZe are aware they need to keep control apart from just the site. AVG is one of those sites that if you allow the attackers to completely encompass you, you're going to have a bad time more often than not. Cameraman, a beautiful C4 there. Wag goes down, and looks like that was a pre-placed one just inside of study door. So great job to FaZe to make that happen. Must have been a call from one of his teammates, possibly Yokai drone. Either way, good communication on FaZe's part. And now Ninjas in Pyjamas are the ones that find themselves a man down. And importantly, the Thatcher is gone. Very powerful operator in this scenario.
This is exactly what I mentioned about the ex-Kairos on the wall over towards the study. You're going to be able to open that up. There's no impact tricks that will come out from either Mav or possibly Moringa if the smoke is running those impact grenades. And you see Ninjas in Pyjamas, in particular Pino, now working over towards that classical wall after the team has opened up the study. Moringa's going to get a second kill for FaZe there as it's a powerful blast to the Ash, who is all alone. I'm actually very surprised with how spread out Ninjas in Pyjamas is right now.
Yeah.
They are all over the place, and this Jackal of Kamikaze will alert Cameraman of his presence, and he'll get traded off by Astro. It's a nice pinch. There's Psycho to take him down, and he's going to immediately push up red stairs, but Cameraman is still there. A Yokai Blast will take out the IQ and leave Julio, a final member. They know exactly where he's coming from. Inside a study, they've got control of the hatches, or they've got control of the openings in the wall, as Julio now heads his own way over towards Classical Hall to see what kind of noise he can make. But he's got 40 seconds and not an awful lot to work with here. Moringa's low on HP, but his first encounter is going to be inside a study. He can't out-tussle Mav, and the Legion will equalize with giving FaZe a victory on the site that slipped out of their grasp on round number 1.
Good job to FaZe there. But now, again, they're passing the buck. Last round, we saw FaZe play sloppy. This round, it was Ninjas in Pyjamas playing sloppy. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about it earlier. Ninjas in Pyjamas were all over the place.
Yes.
And not really focused on any one thing in particular. The beauty of the first round that we saw from NiP is that they attacked straight through Study, and as pretty much a whole squad, they managed to clear their way into 90, and then they cut off the rotation from all the roamers from FaZe, isolated the site, strangled it. Good execution. They also got some free picks along the way. Great, that's a good attack from Ninjas in Pyjamas. This time around, their roam clear was a little bit, again, all over the place, sloppy. And it left them exposed to the adjusted roam that FaZe was bringing out, which was a little bit more spread out, expecting Ninjas in Pyjamas to try and clear. So, overall, good adjustment from FaZe, and lack thereof is the problem for Ninjas in Pyjamas. But they won't have to go to AVG again. This time they get to attack onto Trophy, so it's going to be something entirely different on round number 3.
It's interesting the role reversal that the teams had in round number 1. FaZe seemed hell-bent on taking as many fights as they could. Astro wide peeking the window, cameraman peeking with his back towards Study, knowing full well that Ninjas in Pyjamas had Study control. Cameraman exposing himself needlessly. Other way around, as you noted. Ninjas in Pyjamas entered solo. They had nobody there to watch them, and Jackal had the IQ backing him up, but they weren't close enough. So, interestingly enough, just the way the teams played this in opposite manners. As you mentioned, the way that you defend over here towards Trophy and Statuary, you're going to have a lot of peripheral sites that you need to try and hold down. You see where Yuna is playing inside of Astronomy, not affectionately named after his teammate Astro, I can assure you, but you can also have some control over the bathroom as well, and those stairs that lead from the main floor over on Astro's side of things. There's a lot more work you have to do to hold map control on Trophy and Statuary with just as much vertical destruction that can happen beneath you as you see on Aviator games.
So, entry into Master Closet. Psycho's got good efficiency with his teammate Julio droning him in here. Psycho, again, one of those nutty shots that Ninjas in Pyjamas have. Just one of many, though, along with Pino and Julio. I mean, to be honest, all of them. He's going to be the entry frag because of that. No soft destruction from below. The Buck's going to be going for the nade instead to clear out the bandit batteries, and he will do just that. Already 3 gone with 1 grenade. That's great efficiency. Doesn't look like the bandit's going to trick. He might nade just in case, and he will. C4 misses there, and Psycho does not. Excellent grenade. Good prediction there. Moringa trying to go in, looks like possibly to mute juggle, but he was too late anyway, and the grenade will punish FaZe, putting them in a tricky spot here. Ninjas in Pyjamas, because they're allowed to focus just on the master take, have great control.
I don't know if Moringa was able to get off his nitro cell before he perished with the bulletproof camera up on the board. That's Yuna's, so you know that there's at least 1 available from the defense.
He got it off, it just missed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pino's waiting so patiently for Yuna to peek, and he's just going to see a tiny portion of the head of the dock. His position will be given away to the rest of Ninjas in Pyjamas in the R4C with about 5 or 6 shots. But Yuna wasn't there. Didn't decide to peek it. Also, Yuna looked like he was just a little bit below the crosshair of Pino as well, so it would have required a little bit of a change from the Ash to be able to get that one off.
You see, Psycho might go downstairs. Again, the Buck, potentially some soft destruction from below. We've been seeing really efficient rounds from both of these teams, mainly Ninjas in Pyjamas, of course, because they're on attack so far, and because of that, Buck has time to adjust in the late round.
It's going to be a utility dump in here from the flashes and the pings through the desk, but Yuna, having been overhealed, is going to take a lot of damage, but still be in good shape. This is a failure of Psycho and Pino to be able to capitalize, but there you go. Yuna finally gets taken down. He's been able to wrestle about 20 seconds of time away. Mav in a position to try and grab 1. Oh, he cannot land the shots on the Buck. Psycho is there, and Ninjas in Pyjamas in such good position. Cameraman will try to salvage the round, tosses out the C4, misses completely. Diffuser going down. Julio will abandon the plant. Look at how low Ninjas in Pyjamas are. Cameraman with a great opportunity for a clutch here. Oh, he'll get it with the dying seconds, and nobody from NiP is able to recover. Cameraman and FaZe will get the round in the dying seconds. Some solo heroics. NiP lets that one slip right through their fingers.
Yeah, that, wow. You gotta say, that was a Ninjas in Pyjamas round. Hands down. They should have taken that, but they planted in the wrong spot. We were talking about the efficiency that Ninjas in Pyjamas had early in the round, where they managed to take it to Master, open up the wall into sight very quickly. And then they start to adjust. They start to bring their Buck downstairs and try to do some vertical damage, and then clear into Astronomy. Makes sense, right? Once you get Astro, you effectively have control over both of the sites. It's such a powerful crossfire with Master, which again, Ninjas to Pyjamas already had solid control over. But somebody denied their plan because they decided to plant in the open without cover. There were and are places in that site where you can plant and you're not exposed to somebody from the adjacent site doing just what Cameraman did. Camera is the hero of that round, of course, for FaZe, and that round, I mean, you see it a lot. Rounds like these, or like those, pardon. But every single time one of those happen, it counts for so very much. And it could potentially be the difference between going down to the loser bracket and moving forward in the winner bracket coming out of this match. And I know it's just one round, and we're in a best of 3, but it is quite substantial. Cameraman hopefully patting himself on the back for that one.
This is a tough group too, Michael. I mean, it's the only real group that you can look at and kind of say, all right, well, I have a feeling that things are going to play out according to plan is probably C.
Maybe.
G2, Liquid, Mantis, and Mocket. That one just seems to be, you know, one of the best teams in Latin America, one of the best teams in the world. That's pretty tough to say that anybody else might be able to make it out of that group. You never know.
It is the most predictable. That's just, I think that's a fact.
I think a lot of people look at Group C as the one where it's easiest for you to predict, yes. But you've got Fnatic and Reciprocity playing. Reciprocity are a team that thrives under pressure. They play extremely well on lands. Fnatic, being from APAC, have had no shortage of LAN experience against other teams from Korea, Southeast Asia, and Japan, and of course, also from Australia and New Zealand. So there's no, I mean, you win this matchup, but it's not like your job gets any easier at that point. You still have to face a hard team next.
Yeah. I mean, 2 teams are making out of this group, or 2 teams are making out of each group. You still have the loser bracket, so there's definitely going to be a very refined 2 teams for each group, but it's all going to be very close. I mean, even Group C, like we talked about. Astro going to be fighting 3 members here, whether he knows it or not. He's going to be taking a lot of damage. Goes for a repeat, and he will be downed along with Cameraman, who looks to have just taken some bullets on the same angle that Astro is trying to challenge. So that's a 2-for-1 there for Ninjas to Pyjamas, and to boot, control of the top floor.
I mean, you try to do that just to be able to hold map control as best as you can, and I don't really think that worked out as well. We talk about successful roams, and we talk about the ability to hold off on the attackers, but this is just FaZe in shambles. They lose another to Mav now, and Pulse downstairs. It's going to leave Moringa and Yuna. You've got 2 good anchors, don't get me wrong. You've got a Smoke and you've got an Echo still available for you. That's good. Those are 2 operators that are going to be very helpful. But look at the utility that's still stacked up on NIP's side of things. Soft destruction, hard destruction, grenades, smokes, good guns as well.
I mean, man, I want to say I like the setup from FaZe because I like some of the things they're doing here. Like, for example, the Echo inside of Living Room. And he's got all those open walls to hold on here to storage. I mean, this is some good positioning here from FaZe in terms of the anchors. The fact that they lost the roamers for free, basically. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can say in FaZe's favor for this round, at least. And you can see Julio's just going to walk in, start going for a plant. Could be a Yokai drone above him. Gas canister is going to go far afield, not going to deny that plant. Yokai drone's also not going to deny. You can see Julio's going to get it down. Kamikaze will shut down Moringa, and now Yuna has to retake onto 5 attackers. He'll take down 1, almost 2, but Julio shuts him out. Ninjas to Pyjamas take another round, and we go 2-2. I mean, that was about the most one-sided round we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, so much of that was just your top floor control. You lost those 2 bodies really early on. I am a little critical of the way that Astro re-engaged in Statuary or in Trophy he really didn't need to. You mentioned that unbeknownst to him, there's multiple bodies from Ninjas in Pyjamas sitting over by the doorway into Trophy. And what does Astro do? He tries again. After he loses 80% of his health, he rolls the die. Instead of backing off, and if he had backed off, you have the attackers either have to commit drones, utility, or time to try to pinch him. He could have literally gone into Astronomy and just waited, or tried to stay alive inside a bathroom and waited. And he could have killed another 10, 20 seconds, maybe could have taken out a drone or 2, maybe forced the attackers to have to use some soft destruction or some frag grenades, etc.
I mean, all things considered, it was bad play for sure. He had 2 options there. Either fall back and try to delay, or stay inside a Trophy and play off the island in the middle of Trophy where that deer is. I mean, you've got, or is it a buck? Well, whatever. Either way, you've got 2 options. He decided to do both. And because he did both, he left himself incredibly exposed. A mistake, to be sure. And again, 2-for-1. That's not a good deal on FaZe's side. It did end up costing them. Both of the rounds, by the way, we should note this. Both of the rounds that FaZe have lost, it seems like they are losing because they're giving away essentially free picks. I mean, the first round was the same way, and now here on the fourth, free picks. Okay, NiP are going to clean up pretty easily.
I find it really amusing, just pivoting towards what what I just saw on the screen from FaZe's side of things. FaZe are all running that orangish brown.
Oh, people have been talking about that one. Yeah.
Skin that it blends in. It's the Wind Bastion skin. It blends in perfectly with the color palette of Villa and makes it quite difficult in the thick of things to be able to see the full bodies of these operators.
Yeah, there's been a lot of conversation actually about those specific skins from multiple people saying like it's pretty much the LAN meta right now. Everyone and their mother is running that skin if it's available. Because yeah, in certain maps like this or Border, you're gonna blend straight on in. And you don't have to worry about it. I mean, that's actually, it's applicable for almost every map too. Like if the color palette on many maps in Siege are pretty one or two colors, usually. And because of that, you can just run whatever skin matches up to the map you're playing on, and yeah, it could be pretty powerful.
All right. Aviator Games, once again, the third time we will see this site, the second final defense for FaZe, as they were able to win it on their second attempt, but will need to do better on the third here. Good pacing in terms of the way that FaZe Clan have been able to hold off Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Monochromatic, that was the word I was looking for.
There you have it. Control of study is what's most important. The switch off of Julio's Thermite onto a Hibana will work wonders, but I think that was a C4 or an impact nade from below.
Looks like it.
Able to take out the X-Kairos. So the push onto the bar side of things means that FaZe will be able to just hold off. They will lose their Echo, so the Yokais will just sit there as stationary cameras. Psycho gets down from below. It's Moringa appears through the floor as the telltale sides of the SMG-11. Able to punish the Buck. Now Moringa's just going to simply wait. He does have impact grenades, so that was likely his doing that stopped the X-Kairos from being able to get the wall.
Good job to Moringa to be able to do that. I mean, again, we've been seeing some excellent impact tricking from FaZe so far. Mav's going to take down Psycho, and right now Ninjas in Pyjamas are having trouble taking this site, but they've managed to isolate Mav and put him on low HP. He's pretty much the main hold for this B bomb site. But because Cameraman is in his crossfire and Moringa able to take down Pino, FaZe are looking pretty good on this hold. Only 30 seconds remain in this round. Mav is lit up, but Ninjas in Pyjamas are being isolated and denied flat out. Good use of the gadget there from IQ, and down goes one of the Yokai drones. Moringa also going to get lit up, but another great shot from Mav. And here's another one. He's on fire. Holding out this from Gun Vault by himself, essentially. Wag will take down one, but Cameraman shuts it out. FaZe take the round, and that was a very solid defense. Again, Ninjas in Pyjamas didn't really get very many picks early on, and it cost them.
They got out utilitied and hustled by FaZe as well.
Yeah.
Being able to take out that hard destruction was really important, and FaZe kind of gambled all or nothing on the games side of things over by the bar and the classical hallway. And then it was Moringa with the impact grenade on the smoke. You don't often see smoke running the impact grenade, because usually you want to use the barbed wire instead, but it worked out. It was a great choice. Deprived NiP from being able to enter where they wanted to and put more pressure on FaZe. And the inability for Ninjas in Pyjamas to have any hard destruction on their side, outside of that one small hole they probably could have crawled in, meant that FaZe could basically just hold their positions. And Mav, inside of Vault, there's very limited opportunity for you to be able to push Vault. If you don't get the Vault wall, meant that even on 1 HP, Mav was able to just rain fire down upon the rest of NiP, picked up 3 kills in the process.
Now, Mav's always been one of those players, you put him in the pivotal positions and he's going to perform. He certainly did there. And that was, I'd say, the most solid win we've seen from FaZe on this defensive half. They're going to guarantee themselves at least a draw coming out of the first half. It's a comfortable place. It is important to note, though, that overall, this is one of the most defender-sided maps in all of Siege currently. In terms of the map pool, the 7 maps that we have for Pro League and all competitive whatnot. I think it's got about a 60% win rate, if I'm not mistaken, across the regular Pro League and the qualifiers, and that's for 60% win rate for the defenders. And yes, it is exactly 60%. So yeah, you want to be winning as many defensive rounds as possible. FaZe will put themselves in a very good spot if they win this 4-2, but it'd be a standard position. They should put it at 4-2. If Ninjas and Pyjamas manage to bring this to 3-3 in the first half, and then go to their defensive half, NIP are looking very comfortable. They're feeling very comfortable, and they should be able to take it.
Unless you just don't play this map, or unless you got beat really badly in the operator ban side of things, yeah, you should be taking at least 4 of your defensive or 4 defensive rounds and being able to get 4 victories. It's bad shape for FaZe if they can't win this one in particular. But they're perfect here so far.
It's really interesting. It looks like there's, I can't tell. Yes, there is an ADS. It has been cleared out here from Julio. He's going to double check to see if there's another one. It looks like there might have been, yes, it looks like 2 ADSs potentially. Either that or they're hitting the electricity there. Either way, some missed nades and even more ADSs. All 3 are bunched up to allow Moringa to impact trick this wall. That is great game sense from FaZe, knowing what NIP did the last time they attacked from Master and countering it directly. This means the Bandit batteries will be intact because there's no Thatcher. I have to say, if the easier solution, instead of nading over that wall, is to just bring a Thatcher.
I mean, there was Thatcher usage from NIP before, but
exactly.
I think WOG is subbed out for the IQ instead. Now, keep in mind, there's plenty of vertical pressure that you can apply to this situation. Mav will find WOG as you hear the telltale cries of IQ as she's in complete anguish. And a vault in here from Psycho will be read perfectly by Cameraman. And FaZe now dropping Kamikaze as well. Just as Una goes to overheal himself, Pino's there, a quick snap, and 2 bodies will hit the floor from Ninjas in Pyjamas. You have Pino and Julio now on the hunt, but they're outnumbered for the time being. They still have time on their side, 50 seconds to go, but double default cameras will give away both Pino and Julio's positions. This is gonna be tough. Not great for Pino as he tries to head in through Astro, and he's gonna get the courtesy gift from Moringa of a toxic canister, and give Julio with that Type 89 and the Bearing 9. Not bad weapons by any stretch of the imagination, but 3 bodies. He'll get shot as he's running up the red stairs. He heads back. It's short work. Moringa, outstanding job that round. And FaZe will emerge from the first half 4-2.
It's important to note, though, as we just stated, this is exactly where FaZe should be. Again, with that defensive win rate on Villa being about 60%. Now, NIP going to defense. If they can keep their minds in order, keep focused on the objective, this is an easy comeback, potentially, for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They got the unlucky situation of having to defend, or rather attack first, defend second. So they'll have to adjust somewhat to being down 4-2. But again, potentially, if they're aware of the stats on this map, an easy comeback here for NIP. They're going to go to Trophy Statuary first, it looks like. That's quite interesting. Usually teams will start with AVG. Not the case here for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Also be bringing a Pulse, but they're 6-picking into it. That's smart. 6-picking into the Pulse means that the enemy won't be aware of it until they drone you out. Of course, because that reveal phase will show all of your operators to your opponent. You can 6-pick to avoid that, just for 1.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think Trophy Statuary is that bad of an idea right off the hop.
No, it's not.
It's okay. I mean,
it's like Clubhouse, man. You've got your map, you've got your sites you go to.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter the order that you go to them in. You could potentially catch your opponent off guard in terms of the operator selection. I think that's probably the goal here.
Probably a wise way of putting it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the way these teams are going to run utility, though, is they're going to be ready to attack anything right off the bat. I mean, FaZe Clan runs this wonky Finka strategy that you see set up right now. Of course, being quarterbacked by Una right there smack in the middle. The telltale lightning bolt fist rising out of the operator icon. A set of frag grenades and Adrenal Surge. And it really does suit the aggressive playstyle that we see from a lot of Latin America teams, but FaZe in particular. An all-or-nothing, eggs-in-one-basket type of deal.
Scanning.
And I mean, we see the Finka from, like you said, a lot of LATAM teams. We've seen it from a couple of other teams. Dark Zero's had a couple moments where they'll run that Finka strategy, but it's not fully embraced by Pro League, but it is certainly a viable strat that we see often. FaZe are, by the way, right off the bat here, this is pretty easy to tell. Ninjas in Pyjamas had a much more efficient attack strategy every single round in the last half. So far right here, while Una has managed to take out Kamikaze, great nade, where was that even from? I gotta I gotta know where that nade came from, man. He was positioned, looked like it's on the roof, so... Oh, wow. It was through the skylight, and he arced it from the other side of the roof. What? That is crazy. Look at that.
That is a great toss.
That is a very impressive toss, and that is FaZe's solution to bandit tricking on trophy statuary. You gotta say that that's one of those things that you don't show anyone in the regular season. You wait till it matters, and oh boy, does it matter here. I bet you Nip don't even know where that nade came from. Very impressive there from FaZe to find it, land it, and now they're going to easily be able to open up that master wall, which you can see has already happened.
So that's a massive amount of control that one single frag grenade is going to net you, taking out also one of the best gunners on Nip's squad in Kamikaze, an MP7 to boot, an excellent gun in a 3-speed. And also Kamikaze could have conceivably been running that nitro cell as well. So that's a lot of utility that's gone from one single grenade. We'll see if Unit can go 2 for 2 as he's got a frag grenade tossed in hand. It'll just be used to clear out utility. He'll hit the Adrenal Surge, the second one on the board. That little thin piece of metal might actually thwart FaZe's ability to get through that wall. Almost seems like that Adrenal Surge is being squandered, as there really isn't a lot of movement from FaZe. They're kind of spread out all over on the master side of things. They're going to be completely ignoring trophy side. They have statuary as their intended target. The Pulse on the main stairs will need some covering fire as Moringa does set down the diffuser. It's a double from FaZe with Mav and Astro cleaning out Psycho and Wog. Julio still has his Yokai available, but no, he's going to get slapped by Astro, and Cameraman is there as well. It's a flawless round from FaZe Clan, who seem to be fired up here.
Everything from FaZe in that round was incredibly impressive. Apart from, of course, it was a really slow round. I'm going to hold on to that point. That was the slowest attack we've seen so far. Ninjas Pyjamas were a lot more efficient in terms of speed. But what do they have to show for it? Currently, 2-5, FaZe's favor. It all started with the grenade from Yuna. Again, through the skylight, but not just through that skylight. He arced it from the other side of the building. So essentially, he threw that nade pretty much as far as you can throw a grenade. It detonated. I bet he didn't even cook it at all. It detonated just as soon as it landed. Now, FaZe were aware that there was no Jaeger on the Nip side because, of course, that reveal phase. They could have potentially 6-picked into the Jaeger, but that was a gamble FaZe were willing to take. Because of that, they didn't even need to check for the ADSs before they went for the grenade. So overall, just, wow, a fantastic setup from FaZe, aware of what their opponents were going to be doing in that situation, aware of what the tools on Ninjas and Pyjamas side were, and able to counter that plays very directly. Again, something as simple as taking care of the bandit tricking or mute jamming on the master wall, it's sometimes overlooked as being a very basic thing. But when you find the perfect solution, like FaZe did, you are able to skip things. I mean, remember that round where we saw Ninjas and Pyjamas get countered because of 3 ADSs being stacked up on the master wall? It was beautiful play from FaZe to do both of those things. They set up the ADSs, they set up the nade, they knew what needed to be done in order to win their rounds, and they won both of those.
It's a tactical timeout that appeared to be used there as well. I would imagine probably on Ninjas and Pyjamas side of things.
Yeah, probably.
Probably a good opportunity for them to use it. I have to wonder, and this is something that you brought up, the lack of the Thatcher to possibly take out those ADSs previously that Ninjas and Pyjamas had. FaZe didn't use a Thatcher. All right. If you look at their lineup, they're not going to be running with a Thatcher again. FaZe Clan doesn't usually have a Thatcher on their lineup, so that does make a lot of sense. Have Astro play on a fragging operator. He might play Twitch, he might play Zofia, he might play Dokkaebi. You likely have Cameraman on another role. Cameraman's been playing quite an abundance of Ashe this season as well, the most picked operator in all of Pro League, the attacking side.
Yeah. And we've got him on IQ right now, and you were talking about the lack of Thatcher. And, I mean, IQ on Villa, that vertical play, we've been seeing so many teams do this. They'll just inject IQ downstairs, and she'll take out all the electronics from below using her gadget. We're also seeing Clash. I think this is the first time before.
First time so far today, and also worth noting that Clash did receive a couple changes.
Massive buff.
She was able to go, her SMG now used to be a 2-burst fire. It is now full auto, or semi-automatic rather.
Many pros actually calling it the best SMG sidearm currently in the game.
What has minimal recoil? It's
non-existent recoil.
A suppressor on Psycho side of things. There are teams that will experiment with extended barrels and suppressors to see which have minimized recoil. Probably be my guess there, because I mean, Clash is a big lumbering operator. She's going to make an awful lot of noise. You don't really need a suppressor on that.
Yeah, I mean,
for any other reason.
Remember when people were experimenting with the Alda on the suppressor? I mean, that lasted for a pretty long time. We still see some people use the suppressor on that gun. I mean, it really comes down to whatever recoil pattern you're comfortable with.
Now, FaZe will move over to Aviator here, Michael, because they won Trophy and Statuary. They could have gone down to either of the two sites on the first floor, but no. They'll go with the usual site that teams start off their defenses on.
So, FaZe again having a pretty slow round, all things considered. A whole minute spent droning, and they will finally have control of Study. They've got to have some amazing tricks to make up for this. You can see that doesn't look like there's actually any impact trickings being set up for the Study walls, as they are, I believe, fully attacked on the top. Nope, mistaken. There are some holes. Couldn't quite see it from the corner there. Impact tricking will be a failure, though, overall from Kamikaze. He did manage to get some of the Excaros. Looks like Moringa's going to be able to open up Crouch Hole if this also does not get impact tricked. We'll see in just a second.
It's really aggressive play by Moringa there to just get completely on his belly.
Yeah.
As you see all of those Excaros go off, so there'll be no impact tricking from Kamikaze as they've wisely let the defense fall off. But the smoke is still positioned over by the bar and is in a very exposed area.
Cameraman, again, talking about the lack of a Thatcher and IQ taking his place on this map. So powerful when you can inject her downstairs, able to take out pretty much any electronic from below. So a lot of soft destruction on this map. And again, that's, I think, the big difference maker on this map is who or which teams are aware of the soft destruction vertically and which teams don't utilize that. That could be really the make it or break it.
Excellent timing for these toxic canisters to go out as well. Keep in mind that you take additional damage when you have your Adrenal Surge active. There are none left for Yuna, as FaZe have used all three without any real significant contributions to their kill count. In fact, it'll be Kamikaze who starts things off as he eliminates Astro on Repel, just over by 90. See Pino there engaged in a fight. A frag grenade goes out and Yuna's unable to find a target. Mav just grabbed Kamikaze as Moringa goes down to Wog. There's Cameraman able to out-duel Pino. He's right behind Yuna, and they're going to just push right on in, but there's Psycho with that new SMG in hand. Able to land all the shots. Psycho gets down, but they'll trade off as Wog finishes one and Julio is there for the other. And Nip will keep this game somewhat close. It's still a 5-3 lead for FaZe. It's a much better defense this time around.
You guys probably couldn't hear it, but there was a little cry from Ninjas and Pyjamas after winning that round. I'm sure very happy that they were able to take it, as they've lost 3 in a round prior to just winning this one. 3 in a row is not easy to recover from. I think I said 3 in a round, but I meant 3 in a row. And the way that that round played out, Ninjas and Pyjamas are aware of how FaZe are attacking this, and that is extremely slow. FaZe, in that last round, there isn't, you can't, they just didn't have a presence, man. They were taking into Study, and that took them a whole minute. A whole minute. And the clash on Ninjas and Pyjamas side really added to the delay that FaZe had to deal with, because, I mean, while the tools were there for FaZe to handle a clash, I mean, you had the Zofia, they weren't able to make it happen. And overall, it was just a pretty inefficient take from FaZe. They had no special trick like that nade we saw when attacking onto on Statuary Trophy, and because of that, Nip played the slow game. They waited. And when it came down to the last 30 seconds, it actually came close. And that's really striking to me. FaZe almost managed to frag it out and win just off that. But they couldn't. You have to imagine if FaZe had allotted themselves a little bit more time for an actual site take, we might have seen a different result.
10 seconds to go.
This is second time's a charm here for Trophy, Michael. You mentioned how slow FaZe was the last time they attacked this site, but they were able to win it in all-out brawl.
They had some nice tricks. I really like that nade. I really do like that nade.
I don't, you know, we're obviously probably not going to see it again. Yuna is off the Finca. He's instead on Jackal. There's a Jaeger on the board from Pino, likely throw an ADS down there somewhere. Mav has a set of grenades on his side of things, but with his kit, he'll probably just try to use it on the wall, be able to try and shake Kamikaze off.
It's tricky though. I mean, with the addition of the Jaeger again, there's still no Thatcher on the attacking side. So if you want to go for a master take on the Trophy, you're gonna have to either buck from below, IQ from below, or you're gonna have to do something from below likely, because I'm guessing a lot of those ADSs will be on the master wall.
This is very interesting to see a clear from the basement.
You don't often see it.
A lot of people forget that there's a basement of Villa, Michael.
Yeah, no, it's usually just a highway for roamers.
Yeah. But there's a heavy roam presence from Ninjas in Pyjamas right now. And this is FaZe here. What a shot! Mav just beheading Psycho. Hello. Take a seat, Pulse. You're not going to be able to get that one on your cardiac sensor at all. Astro gets down, but look at this commitment from Nip. They've got another body downstairs, along with the yokai drone there, trying to tag out the Jaeger of Pino, who gets felled, but the information is not available for the time being to the rest of FaZe. There you go, a drone will mark them, and Astro will be able to clean them up after Cameraman had taken one down. And every IQ's dream to see those many gadgets. Though Kamikaze will counterpunch and take out Astro, there wasn't that much left of the Zofia, who had managed to withstand a very unique ability to get himself back up. And we find ourselves at a 3v3. That's the entire roam presence from Nip. It's been flushed out, except for maybe Julio's yokai if it was still downstairs.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Nice shot called out there from Psycho. Rightfully so. That was a very beautiful shot from Mav. Psycho usually one of those players that always wins his fights. And that's just one of the things he's known for. But Mav also an incredibly clutch player. He did some work downstairs, and the fact that the Pulse is gone is going to be a huge boon for FaZe. But again, what's happening here, Parker? FaZe are slowing down.
I mean, they understand that after they've flushed Wog downstairs, they just need to wait. And that's exactly what happens. Wog gets droned, he heads for the hills. Julio is next on deck. Let's see if FaZe are going to be able to breach in towards the Astro side of things. But Julio's got all the information in the world. He knows the Jackal's in there. He's going to try to win that fight, but uncharacteristically losing it. Leaving Kamikaze downstairs. With the Nitro Cell, he'll expend it, but he'll need to get back in towards the site. And the growing list of bodies over on the astronomy stairs will likely look for another. And there you have it. Doesn't even matter if the diffuser is going down. FaZe with a perfect lockout of the astronomy side of things, and they go 3 for 3 on players from Nip over in that area of the map. And that'll move FaZe to match point.
This is good knowledge from FaZe. I have to hand it to them. I mean, they're playing slow on attack, but it seems they're just aware that Ninjas in Pyjamas get antsy when they have no confrontations. And that's the case. WAG gave himself away for free coming up those Astro stairs. It's really not what you want to see from Ninjas in Pyjamas. Again, getting a little ahead of themselves. We also saw Julio inside of Astro. He was holding the angle into the bathroom and then un-ADS'd as soon as it got peeked into. It's bad timing, sure, you could argue. I would also personally argue that it just could be impatience on the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas, more of it. And it cost them all 2 players and the hold in astronomy. That was, an easily winnable round for the defense, but it just didn't happen. Again, Ninjas in Pyjamas getting a little ahead of themselves. Now, FaZe, their patience has been working out, and now they're on match point. 1 round away from just taking this map, no OT needed. And again, this is a 60% win rate for the defense on Villa through the regular season and the qualifier. So it's just very impressive the way that FaZe have managed to win even just 2 of these rounds. They're very close to taking it all.
FaZe read that roam from Nip so well to go downstairs, take out the Pulse, take out all the offside players, the Jaeger of Pino, the yokai drone that was being down there from Julio as well. And I think it was just a misallocation of your utility on the defensive side of things. You gambled so hard on that first floor hold.
Oh my gosh.
Now look at this. Julio's going to take a big gamble, run out for a possible spawn peek, and actually could have netted Mav, but Mav was on, it looked like Mav might have been on drone, or Yuna might have been on drone as well, or Cameraman, one of those bodies over in that direction. Hard to tell from the silhouettes. I
think they waited a little bit just in case of the spawn peek would come out. That's good patience and knowledge from FaZe, because they're right. It did happen. Yeah. You know, those spawn peeks from Master are often frowned upon, but usually the dumber things, the dumber they are, the more known they are, sometimes you can get away with it, especially at this level of play. This is the pinnacle of Siege play right now. All the teams that have made it to this Invitational, that's pretty much what they are, top of the world. And sometimes you can just bring out the most basic peaks and get away with them.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people call those kind of peaks brainless.
Yeah, that's
because a lot of times they're not advisable in most circumstances. But you're facing a 6-3 deficit. to FaZe, a team that hasn't looked the greatest over the last 3 months. Well, NiP has looked like one of the best teams in the world.
Do some brainless plays. Maybe you'll get away with it.
Maybe it'll tell your opponent. Maybe you'll get under their skin, etc.
Yeah.
Excellent IQ work from cameraman here as we transition in towards match point. It's 6-3 in favor of FaZe. Very similar to where Reciprocity is in Fnatic right now. Reciprocity is on match point against Fnatic on map number 1. So both teams looking poised to be able to take these maps.
You see, again, roamers downstairs from Ninjas and Pyjamas. And FaZe have rightfully allocated some players to clearing out the bottom floor. There's no IQ downstairs this time, though. It looks like it's just maybe Mav by himself. Astra's going to take out Julio. That's upstairs on the anchors.
I don't know if Mav is going to be spotted. It does look like he is. So Psycho is fully aware of the buck just at the end of the hallway, which is why Psycho's going to hold this angle with barbed wire in front of him. At least the pulse will be alerted just a little bit before we're able to see Mav come on in. Pino will grab Mav, so great coordination as Yuna takes out Wog, and there we have it. An advantage for FaZe as they look to end this map.
Psycho's still downstairs, though, with the C4 in hand. This is going to be crucial that he misses this, because now he can't deny the plant that Yuna is going for just inside a statuary. C4 missing, being called out for FaZe. Easy plant. Moringa's going to win a fight against Pino, who's trying to retake into the site. Now Psycho's turn to retake, and he's got a challenge onto a great spot from Moringa, and a second one from Astro. He'll win one, but not the other. Kamikaze trying to open up singles from below, and he's looking for a fight. He's not going to find one that will go his favor as he loses 50 HP thanks to opening up that hole. Kamikaze will also be downed as he goes up the middle stairs. Yuna gets the last kill, and FaZe take map number 1.
Impressive victory there from them on obviously a much-needed win too for FaZe, who haven't, like I said, haven't had the greatest season so far.
It's true.
Haven't necessarily played the best, and didn't even have the best luck in their scrims yesterday, which is completely opposite to the last Invitational, because I feel like in the previous Invitational, everybody was